You've probably heard the phrase, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." It's one of those sayings we throw around when things get tough, but have you ever really paused to think about it? What does it mean to truly become stronger through adversity? And what does it take to stay resilient when life feels like it's throwing everything at you? We all face challenges, big ones, small ones, and everything in between. And it's easy to get caught in the cycle of wondering why things are so hard, or feeling like we're never going to make it through. But what if I told you that the very thing you think is holding you back, the struggle, the setbacks, the pain, could actually be the thing that propels you forward? What if the secret to overcoming adversity isn't about avoiding hardship, but learning how to thrive in the midst of it? Today, I want to talk to you about resilience. Not the kind of resilience you read about in books or hear about from others, but the real, raw kind of resilience, the kind that gets built through the struggles you face. Resilience is not a trait you're born with. It's something you develop, something you choose, and something you strengthen with every challenge you meet head on. It's a mindset, a commitment to keep going when the world says stop. So, if you've ever felt like giving up, like the world is just too heavy to bear, I want you to stay with me. Together, we're going to explore what it truly means to build resilience, and how that resilience can be the key to unlocking a future filled with strength, growth, and possibility. We often hear people say, "It's all in your head." At first, that sounds like a dismissive remark, something to brush off, but when you really think about it, those words carry a profound truth. Your mindset is everything. It shapes not only how you view the world, but how you interact with it, how you respond to challenges, and ultimately, how you see yourself. The way you think about your capabilities, your potential, and the world around you can either propel you forward or hold you back, and it all starts with belief. The truth is, the thoughts you think form the foundation of your reality. Every action you take, every decision you make, is influenced by what you believe to be possible, and it's not just the big beliefs that matter, the ones about who you are or what you can achieve. It's also the small, everyday beliefs you have about your abilities, your worth, and what you deserve. Those beliefs shape how you show up in the world. Take a moment and think about your own life. How often have you held yourself back because you didn't think you were ready, or because you didn't believe you were capable of succeeding? Whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal goals, I'd bet that many of your limitations started in your mind long before they ever showed up in the real world. We all have stories we tell ourselves about what we're capable of. Some of those stories are empowering, and some of them are limiting. But the truth is, those stories are just that, stories. They're not fact. The power of belief lies in the fact that your brain doesn't differentiate between what's real and what's imagined. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough, not worthy, or not capable, your brain starts to accept that as truth. You begin to act in ways that reinforce those beliefs. You might hesitate before taking a risk or avoid opportunities altogether because you're convinced you're going to fail. That's the power of a limiting mindset. It holds you in a cycle of inaction, of self-doubt, and of missed opportunities. On the flip side, when you believe in your potential, when you genuinely think that you are capable of achieving something, you start showing up differently. You take more risks. You're more willing to face challenges head on because you believe that even if you fail, it's not the end of the road. It's just another step in the journey. You become resilient, not because life is easy, but because you have the belief that you can navigate the difficult moments, learn from them, and keep moving forward. This is the power of mindset. The belief that you are capable doesn't just change how you act, it changes how you interpret the world around you. When you believe you can achieve something, you start to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You start to focus on solutions instead of problems. Your mindset doesn't just affect what you do, it affects what you see and how you feel about the world, and that shifts everything. Think about someone you admire. Maybe it's an entrepreneur, a leader, or someone you know personally. What makes them stand out? I'm willing to bet it's not just their skill set or their knowledge, it's their mindset. It's their ability to see beyond limitations, to believe in themselves when the world might be telling them otherwise. And that belief isn't something that happens by accident. It's cultivated, nurtured, and protected. It's a choice they make every day. Believing in yourself doesn't mean you're invincible. It doesn't mean you'll never face challenges or make mistakes. But what it does mean is that you believe you can handle those challenges when they arise. You believe you can learn from your mistakes and grow stronger because of them. You believe that your potential is greater than any obstacle that might stand in your way. The most successful people aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who view failure as a lesson, as a stepping stone to growth. They know that failure is not a reflection of who they are, but of what they still need to learn. They believe that every setback is temporary, and they use those moments as fuel to keep going. The strength of your mindset determines how you interpret those challenges. If you believe you're doomed to fail, that belief will guide your actions. But if you believe that failure is just a part of the process, you'll keep pushing, keep trying, and eventually you'll break through. The reality is, we all face moments of doubt. We all have days when we question our abilities or wonder if we're on the right path. But those moments don't define us. It's not the doubt that matters, it's what we do with it. Do we allow it to control us? Do we let it convince us to give up before we even start? Or do we acknowledge it, learn from it, and keep moving forward? The most successful people I know don't have a magic formula that guarantees success. What they have is an unshakable belief in their ability to figure things out. They know that every challenge is an opportunity to grow, and they embrace that mindset with open arms. They trust the process, they trust their own abilities, and they trust that, no matter what, they will keep moving forward. So the question is, what's your mindset? Do you see challenges as insurmountable obstacles, or do you see them as opportunities for growth? Do you believe you're capable of achieving your goals, or do you tell yourself that it's too hard, too impossible, or too late? The power to change your life is in your hands. It all begins with your beliefs. If you can change the story you tell yourself about what's possible, you can change everything, and the best part, you have the power to rewrite that story at any time. Your mind isn't set in stone, it's something you can cultivate, strengthen, and transform. It's not about being perfect. It's about believing that, no matter what happens, you are capable. You are worthy, and you are enough. We all have those moments, the times when we look at our lives, our goals, and our dreams, and suddenly something seems to hold us back. We think we want to succeed, we know what we need to do, but somehow we keep finding ways to avoid it. We procrastinate, we make excuses, and deep down we know that we're standing in our own way, we're sabotaging ourselves. But here's the thing, most of us don't even realize we're doing it. We don't see the ways in which our own mindset and behaviors are preventing us from getting what we want. Self-sabotage is sneaky. It's like that quiet voice in the back of your mind telling you to wait until tomorrow or that you're not ready yet. It manifests in ways that feel protective. We convince ourselves that we're being cautious or that we just need more time when, in reality, we're just avoiding discomfort. This, my friends, is self-sabotage at its finest. And it's a trap that many of us fall into again and again. Think about the times you've procrastinated, the times you've put off a project, or avoided a tough conversation. Maybe it's something as simple as avoiding a phone call you know you need to make, or something bigger, like not applying for a job you're qualified for because you feel you might not be good enough. The interesting thing about self-sabotage is that it doesn't always look like obvious failure. It's not about missing an opportunity outright. It's about missing the small opportunities, the ones that would have moved you forward. And before you know it, those small delays add up and the dream you're chasing seems further and further away. The tricky part is, sabotage doesn't always feel like sabotage. We justify it to ourselves. We tell ourselves that we're just waiting for the perfect time, or we convince ourselves that we need more information before we take action. We use perfectionism as a shield to avoid taking risks. But here's the thing, perfectionism isn't about doing things well, it's about the fear of making mistakes. Perfectionism is rooted in a mindset of fear and insecurity, and it's the perfect breeding ground for self-sabotage. At its core, self-sabotage is a defense mechanism. It's about avoiding discomfort. It's about protecting ourselves from failure, rejection, or embarrassment. But here's the catch. By avoiding the discomfort, we're also avoiding growth. Because discomfort is where the growth happens. When we push ourselves out of our comfort zone, when we take risks and put ourselves in positions where we might fail, that's when we learn. That's when we grow. But if we let our fears and insecurities dictate our actions, we'll never have the opportunity to step outside our comfort zone, and we'll never know what we're truly capable of. Now you might be thinking, well, that's easier said than done. How do I stop sabotaging myself? And that's a fair question. The first step is awareness. You need to recognize when you're falling into the trap of self-sabotage. It can be subtle at first, but the more you pay attention, the easier it becomes to spot. Are you procrastinating? Are you avoiding tough decisions? Are you making excuses for why you're not moving forward? These are all signs of self-sabotage. Once you recognize it, the next step is to challenge it. You need to ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of looking foolish? Or maybe you're afraid of success itself, of what it might mean, or the responsibilities that come with it? Once you identify the fear, you can start to reframe it. Instead of avoiding failure, you can start to see failure as a lesson, as feedback, as part of the process. Instead of worrying about what others might think, you can focus on what you can learn from the experience and how you can improve. The most important thing to realize is that failure isn't the enemy. It's not the thing that's going to hold you back. It's the fear of failure that keeps you stuck. And the only way to break free from that fear is to take action, imperfect action. You're never going to have all the answers, and you're never going to feel 100% ready. But that's okay. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. When you push through that initial resistance, when you face the discomfort of doing something new, you'll realize that it's not as hard as you thought. Sure, it's scary. Sure, it might not go as planned. But the fact that you took the first step, that you chose to move forward instead of staying stuck, that's where the real power lies. It's about proving to yourself that you can handle uncertainty, that you can take risks, and that you can learn and grow from the process. And as you start to break free from the cycle of self-sabotage, you'll notice something amazing. Your confidence will grow. With every small win, you'll start to believe more in your ability to handle challenges. You'll start to trust yourself more, and you'll realize that you don't need to have all the answers before you take action. You just need to be willing to try, to learn, and to adjust along the way. The road to success is rarely a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, and bumps along the way. But it's how you respond to those obstacles that matters. Do you let them stop you? Or do you use them as stepping stones to keep moving forward? Self-sabotage doesn't have to be your story. You have the power to rewrite it. You have the power to recognize the fear that's holding you back and take control. The moment you choose to stop sabotaging your potential, you unlock the door to a whole new level of success. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions and you start creating them. So next time you catch yourself in a moment of self-sabotage, pause, recognize it, challenge it, and then take that first step, no matter how small it might seem. Because on the other side of that step is a life you've been holding yourself back from. We've all heard it before. You have to grow through what you go through. It's a nice sentiment, but how do you really apply that to your life when things get tough? How do you transform your challenges into stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks? The answer lies in your mindset specifically, the way you approach setbacks and obstacles. The difference between people who overcome adversity and those who stay stuck is a simple yet profound shift in how they view failure. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about embracing it, learning from it, and seeing it as a natural part of the growth process. This is the essence of a growth mindset. A growth mindset isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a powerful way of thinking that changes the way you approach life's challenges. It's about shifting from the belief that your abilities are fixed, meaning you're either good at something or you're not, to the understanding that you can always improve, adapt, and get better. When you see challenges not as roadblocks but as opportunities to learn and grow, you unlock the ability to keep moving forward even when things seem difficult. Let's think about it for a moment. When you face a problem, what's your immediate response? Do you think, I can't do this, or do you ask, what can I learn from this? The difference is massive. In one scenario, you shut yourself down, resigning yourself to failure. In the other, you open yourself up to possibility and growth. The first scenario is a fixed mindset, and the second is a growth mindset. Let me give you an example. Think about a time when you tried something new and failed. Maybe it was a job interview that didn't go well, or a business venture that flopped, or even a relationship that ended unexpectedly. In that moment, what did you tell yourself? Did you think, I'm just not cut out for this? Or did you think, what can I learn from this experience to make myself better next time? A fixed mindset would have you focus solely on the outcome. I failed, therefore I am a failure. But a growth mindset flips that narrative. I failed, but what can I learn from this so that I do better next time? The first is defeating, the second is empowering. When you adopt a growth mindset, you stop seeing mistakes as reflections of your identity. They're not indications that you're inadequate or incapable. Instead, mistakes are markers of progress. They show you where you still have room to grow, where you can stretch your abilities, and where you can push past the limits you thought you had. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. They've all failed, they've all faced setbacks, but what sets them apart is their ability to keep going. When they fail, they don't internalize it. They don't see it as a sign that they should give up. Instead, they view it as an opportunity to improve. They ask themselves, what went wrong, and how can I do better next time? And then they keep pushing forward. That's the power of a growth mindset. But here's the kicker, a growth mindset doesn't just apply to big, life-changing moments. It's in the everyday decisions too, the small choices we make when we're faced with minor setbacks. Think about the last time you encountered a small obstacle. Maybe something as simple as a project at work that didn't go as planned. What did you do? Did you throw your hands up in frustration? Or did you try to find a new approach? In those moments, you have a choice. You can choose to learn and grow, or you can let the frustration consume you. The more you make the choice to approach setbacks with a mindset of growth, the more natural it becomes. You start to see problems as puzzles to be solved, not as burdens to be avoided. This mindset isn't just about resilience, it's about embracing the process. It's about understanding that you don't need to have all the answers up front. You don't need to know everything from the start. What you need is the willingness to learn, to try, to fail, and to improve. The more you can shift your perspective to see challenges as opportunities, the less fear and anxiety you'll experience when things don't go according to plan. And it's not just about how you respond to setbacks, it's also about how you respond to success. A fixed mindset can make success feel like a plateau. Once you've achieved something, you might start to think that you've made it, and that there's no need to keep growing. But a growth mindset sees success as a springboard for the next level. You never stop learning, never stop growing. Each success is just a stepping stone toward greater achievements. The beauty of a growth mindset is that it doesn't just apply to individual achievements. It applies to teams, organizations, and even cultures. When you create a culture that embraces growth, where people aren't afraid to fail, but are encouraged to learn from their mistakes, you cultivate an environment where innovation and creativity can thrive. People aren't held back by the fear of failure, they're empowered by the belief that they can learn, adapt, and improve. In every great organization, you'll find leaders who embrace the growth mindset. They understand that it's not about having all the answers, but about creating an environment where everyone feels safe to fail, learn, and grow together. They know that setbacks aren't the end of the road, they're just part of the journey. So the next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, how can I learn from this? What can I do differently? Instead of thinking of it as an obstacle, think of it as an opportunity to grow. When you shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, you unlock your true potential, and the world around you becomes a place filled with possibility rather than limitations. Remember, growth doesn't happen in a straight line. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, but it's the only way forward. So, the next time you hit a bump in the road, don't let it stop you. See it for what it is, an invitation to grow. We've all heard the phrase, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. It sounds great, right? But have you ever stopped to really think about what it means? In the moment of struggle, when everything feels overwhelming and it seems like the weight of the world is pressing down on you, what do? What separates those who rise above from those who fall short? The answer often comes down to one simple but powerful principle: resilience. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back from adversity. It's about staying grounded and focused when life throws its hardest challenges at you. It's the ability to keep moving forward even when the road ahead looks uncertain, even when failure seems imminent. Resilience is the difference between giving up and finding a way, but here's the thing: resilience isn't something we're born with. It's something we cultivate. It's a mindset, a skill, and above all, a choice. When we face adversity, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the world is against us, that the struggles we're facing are insurmountable. But I want you to think about something. Every person you've ever admired, whether it's a leader, an athlete, an entrepreneur, has faced setbacks. They've been knocked down, they've faced failure, they've struggled in ways that, on the surface, might seem insurmountable. But the difference between them and the rest of us is that they didn't let those struggles define them. They used those struggles as fuel to rise again. The thing about resilience is that it doesn't come from avoiding failure, it comes from facing it head on. It's about embracing the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the fear. The more you practice resilience, the easier it becomes to move through those tough moments without being paralyzed by them. And what happens when you start doing that? You start to realize that failure isn't something to be feared, it's something to be expected. It's part of the process. It's how you grow, how you learn, and how you find your true strength. But it's not just about having the ability to bounce back. Resilience is also about perseverance. It's the ability to keep going even when things aren't going your way. It's easy to stay motivated when everything is going smoothly. But what happens when life doesn't go according to plan? When the goals you've been working towards feel far out of reach, that's when resilience is tested the most. It's in those moments when you feel like giving up is the easiest choice that you must dig deep and remind yourself why you started in the first place. You can't rely on motivation alone to carry you through. Motivation can fade, especially when things aren't going well. But resilience is a mindset, a determination that doesn't depend on how you feel. It's rooted in purpose. It's about knowing that, no matter what happens, you are committed to your vision, to your cause, to your journey. When you adopt resilience as a core part of your mindset, you start to see challenges in a completely different light. Instead of viewing obstacles as something that's blocking your path, you start seeing them as opportunities to prove to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. Every challenge becomes a chance to reinforce your belief in yourself and your ability to overcome. The key to resilience isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. It's about finding joy in the process even when things aren't perfect. It's about being adaptable, flexible, and willing to adjust your approach when necessary. The road to success isn't a straight line, and neither is the road to resilience. It's filled with twists, turns, bumps, and detours. But every time you persevere through a setback, you're strengthening your resilience, your character, and your resolve. Resilience is also about the people you surround yourself with. We often hear about the importance of building a support system, but it's in these moments of adversity that the true power of those relationships becomes clear. Resilient people don't just rely on their own strength, they lean on the strength of others. They share their struggles, seek advice, and, most importantly, allow themselves to be supported when they need it the most. When you have a strong support system, you realize that you don't have to face your challenges alone. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, and that's incredibly empowering. But let's take it a step further. Resilience also requires vulnerability. We often think of resilience as being about toughness, about pushing through, no matter what. But true resilience isn't about closing off your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about being open, about acknowledging the struggle, and giving yourself permission to feel the pain, the frustration, the fear. Resilience is about recognizing that it's okay to struggle, it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to ask for help. When you can do that, you build emotional strength that empowers you to keep going, no matter the circumstance. So, the next time you face a challenge, remember this: resilience is a choice. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about learning how to navigate through it. It's about shifting your perspective, leaning on your support system, embracing vulnerability, and finding strength in the process, not just the outcome. Challenges will come. You will face obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But every time you get back up, every time you keep moving forward, you build resilience, and that resilience will carry you to places you never thought possible. The key to overcoming any challenge lies not in avoiding the struggle, but in mastering the art of resilience. Keep going, keep growing, and remember, your strength doesn't come from never falling, it comes from getting up every time you do.